So, hi everyone, my name is Mara, and I want to welcome you all to my session today, and thank you all for coming here and listen to me talking about my story as a data visualization freelancer, or Power BI freelancer, or solopreneur, whatever you want to call it. So today I'm going to be sharing with you my story, some ups and downs that I encountered along the way, and also the lessons I learned so far in this 1 year, very short journey still, but hopefully it will be a long journey of freelancing and being a Power BI developer. So, I'm not going to introduce myself because I'm going to be sharing my story anyway. So, also this session is 20 minutes, so there is no time for that. But how did I end up as a solopreneur? So, what's the story? For those of you that don't know me or that don't know my background, I started out as a mechanical engineer, and I ended up somehow in the data world. And I know a lot of you probably think that, yeah, it's not that far off. It's still like, yeah, engineering. But believe me, for me, it was very far off. I knew zickles nothing about data back in the day. I knew a lot about physics, mathematics, and all of that, but data was definitely not my thing. So how did I end up doing data? And I want to tell you the story how did I end up here. So this is kind of my journey, my little road. And as you can see, it's kind of not that long. It's been 7 years since I graduated as a mechanical engineer. I was still in Portugal. For those of you that don't know me, again, I'm Portuguese, and I was still living there. I took this degree in mechanical engineering at the time. I didn't particularly love mechanical engineering, and I want to explain this a little probably. Like I said, I really liked maths and physics, but mechanical engineering was not really, I didn't know exactly what to expect. And it was kind of, yeah, the thing that made more sense for me at the time, because I really liked maths and physics. So I went to this degree, finished my master's, and I started working as a mechanical engineer at Bosch. And in this job, I was in the quality department, and I was literally in the factory assembling boilers and water heaters and all of that, not assembling, disassembling, to understand like the problems and if in terms of quality everything was okay. So very hands-on, very, very different from what I do today. But at the time, I was like, okay, maybe after like 2 or 3 months, I was like, I'm not sure this is exactly what I want to do in my life, to be honest. And it was, again, just 2 or 3 months, and I quickly realized that I've spent like 5 years studying mechanical engineering to get to this first job and thinking, I can't see myself doing this for 40 years. And I thought I was going crazy at the time, to be honest, because I had spent so much time studying this, and now I don't really like it. But I didn't really settle. I thought really inside of me, like, this is not what I should be doing. But I didn't know exactly what I should be doing, right? I was really young. I'm still kind of young. At least I like to believe that. And I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do. But I started working with spreadsheets in Excel. And that was interesting. And I was like, okay, why not? Let's go for something more data related. And I got another job at the time at a different company as a data analyst. So at the time, I started to work with Power BI. I only knew like Excel. Like I said, I knew nothing about data. And because I didn't know nothing about data, I felt like I didn't have the foundations. I signed up to do a post-graduation in data science and analytics because at the time I was like, again, I don't really know how to have conversations with data engineers and data scientists, and they are all talking about all these crazy things, and I have no idea what they are talking about. And this data science mini degree, in a way, allowed me to have those foundations that I was lacking at the time. And also allowed me to understand that I really like the data visualization side of things because I studied everything from like more data engineering side of things, data science, data visualization, and all of that. And the part that I did like the most was still data visualization. So it made me realize that I was kind of in the right path. And then came a moment where I had the opportunity to move to the UK. And it was a contract at the time. And I was living in Portugal before, like I said. I got this job while I was still in Portugal. And if you don't know, Portugal is not very good in terms of salaries. And I had no idea what a contract meant at the time. Literally, no idea. There's no such thing in Portugal. So I was really happy because the contract looked amazing. The salary was like, in my head, was, whoa, this is so good. The truth is, when I got here, I realized, oh, this is actually not that good after all. And at the time when I moved to the UK, I didn't know anyone. I didn't have a lot of money. I was eating ham sandwiches for like a month until I got my first salary because I just didn't have the money. I just moved here like with literally one bag and that's it. And I quickly, like I said, realized that this contracting job was probably not the best, not the more stable. And I quickly started to look for something else more stable. And that's when I got another job, this time at Altius, which is now Avanade. And I know there are a lot of colleagues here that are still working at Avanade. And I was working as a Power BI consultant here. And I really like this job. I met amazing people, incredible people there. And I learned so much during this time where I was at Altius, or now Avanade again. But I reached a point where I was like, okay, I'm doing a lot of Power BI. I was a Power BI consultant, so I was just doing Power BI. And I felt that everything I learned here was kind of going to waste in a way because I was not really applying all the knowledge that I acquired here. And I decided, okay, I'm going to steer my boat a little again. And I want to be more in touch with like the data engineering side of things. So again, I didn't settle and I was like, I'm going after what I think my goal is right now, which is being like in the middle of both worlds, data visualization and data engineering. So I ended up at KPE, and this was very, very different from the consulting world. But I was more in touch in this role with the data engineering side of things. In that sense, it was exactly what I wanted. I had a lot more work related to data engineering, but I also was doing Power BI, I was doing Tableau, I was doing like loads of different things. But there was one thing that across all this journey that I always had in my mind. I always wanted to work at one of those big tech companies. It was kind of my dream since I was really, really young. I wanted to work at Microsoft or Google or Amazon, but deep down, I was always thinking, that's not possible, or maybe when I'm 50 years old, I will reach that place, not before. But while I was at this job, I realized I was not really into the industry itself, like insurance, finance. I kind of realized I was not really into that. But again, I was not there. I was there only for a few months. And when I realized that, I was like, I'm going crazy. And I'm here jumping around, steering my boat everywhere. What am I doing? And I decided to do something a little bit crazy and go after my wildest dreams in a way. I was like, I know I will never get this job at Microsoft, but I will sign up anyway. If I don't get it, at least I tried. And the thing is, I did get it. I did get the job, my dream job at Microsoft. And I was like over the moon. I was so happy that I finally got my dream job. I was like, yes, this is exactly what I wanted. The thing is, I romanticized that job for so long. I had my expectations were so high, so high, that in the end, something happened that probably shouldn't happen, which is because I had all those expectations so high, even though the job was amazing, I met amazing people, and they are all here today. Not all here, but a lot of them are here. And I really liked working at Microsoft. But the thing is, again, I romanticized it so much that when I got there, I was like, well, is this really what I want? After all, I had like this really, really, high expectations. And I'm not saying, again, it wasn't good, but it's just like, I think the problem was me, really. Because I've set it up, the expectations were just too high and unrealistic. But the thing is, even though I knew my expectations were probably not very realistic at the time, I decided to just follow my gut in a way. Because when I reached this point, I was like, I've done all this corporate ladder thing. I've reached the highest place I thought I could reach. And still I'm not satisfied. Like, what's happening to me? And I did this crazy thing. I I didn't know exactly where to go in a way, and I decided to set up my own company, Data Pairs, and here I am today. 1 year later, I'm kind of a solopreneur, and this is kind of my journey. So now I want to focus on this little part here of my journey. So what happened here? So what happened between me being a cloud solutions architect at Microsoft and Data Pairs being born? What happened in between? So when I was at Microsoft, I started doing a lot of community work. I started writing blog posts. I created my blog Data Pairs when I was at Microsoft. I started posting a lot of stuff on LinkedIn. I started signing up for speaking at conferences, meetups, and all of that. And in a way, without really realizing it, I was positioning myself as an expert. But I wasn't doing it on purpose. I was doing it because I felt like it. But it really helped me on this journey and on me being where I am today. And it was really not on purpose. I was not really thinking about it. But in the end, it really worked out really well. So at the time, I was receiving, oops, oh, I'm attached to the microphone. Okay. Cool, it's good. Okay, so at the time, I was receiving a lot of messages on LinkedIn, on my blog, of people saying, can you mentor me? I also want to be like a Power BI developer. Can you help me with this and that in terms of Power BI? And I was doing it for free. I was mentoring people one-on-one. I teaching them kind of trainings 101, how to build reports in Power BI. But I was doing it for free. And I reached the point where I was like, why am I doing this for free? I could ask for money. Let's try it. And that's exactly what I did. And then it was kind of the inflection point, what I call the inflection point. I realized that I could monetize my skills in a way. So I started monetizing my skills. I signed up for freelancing sites like Upwork and Fiverr, which are not the best now, I know, but at the time it was what I knew. And I started doing all this work, mentoring people, teaching them how to build reporting solutions in Power BI. But then I was kind of going crazy in a way, because I had my job at Microsoft. I was working from 9 to 6 p.m. or more. And then at 7 or 8 p.m., I was mentoring some person in the US. And then at 10 p.m., I was mentoring someone in Australia. And I was like, this is driving me crazy. I didn't have time for all of that, or my head was exploding. So I want to go back now to kind of my journey here. So what happened here? Because I think that's why I wanted to show you all of this, because I think this really contributed to me being where I am today. Because this is what I learned by doing all of this. I learned that you should dream big and you should go after it. That's exactly what I did in all of this journey. I dreamed really big and I went after it always, all the time. I never settled. Every time I felt like, I'm not sure this is for me, I steered my boat to a different direction, to a direction that I felt was better for me and it was more in line with my goals. And I also never stopped learning. I was never afraid of learning new things or doing things that I had no idea how to do. I still do it every day. And it's amazing for me. I love learning, so I never stopped learning throughout my journey. And one thing that also allowed me to be where I am today is that I'm never afraid of failure. I don't really care. I don't care what you think, in a way. I don't care what the world thinks. If I feel like doing something, I just go after it. And I'm not afraid of failure. Because for me, failure is not necessarily bad. It's always a lesson that you learn. And I learned so many lessons by failing, a lot more. I learned a lot more by failing than doing things right, in a way. So because I learned all of this, and it shaped me in a way into who I am today, I was like, it's time for adventure, because I was this crazy person. I'm not afraid of failure. I never settle. I thought to myself, you are that person. You go exactly, or you go after exactly what you want. You don't settle. So here I am today, not today, this was a few months ago. A few months ago, I started then doing one-on-one mentoring, or I kept doing that. I started doing consulting. I started doing trainings. I left my job at Microsoft. But then it was really hard to scale that business because my goal now is basically to help as many individuals as possible on their Power BI journey. But doing one-on-one mentorships, I mean, it's not really scalable. And I realized that. So I started looking into different ways of really scaling my business because it's a one-person business. And I started looking into online courses, like doing YouTube, and basically generating like online streams of revenue in a way. And while I was doing this, I decided to go, okay, these were just ideas, but I decided to go to YouTube first. I was like, I'm going to do a YouTube channel. And I did it. And at the time, I put a lot of effort into it. I think I got monetized in like 3 months or something. I still make no money. I make like £50 a month on YouTube. But still, I think it was a really good achievement either way. But I put so much effort into that I was starting to go crazy again, in a way. I was like, this is too much. I can't do all of this. I can't do mentoring, consulting, trainings, YouTube, think about online courses. I'm just one person. So what did I do? I steered my boat to a different direction. I was like, one-on-one mentoring is the easiest thing that I can cross because it's the less scalable in a way. And that's what I did. So after that, I started building online courses because it's, again, a lot more scalable than doing one-on-one or trainings. In my head, it is always more scalable. And I decided to put a lot of effort into this online courses and YouTube thing. And at the time, I was like, yeah, I can't do this. Again, it's too much. Because I was putting, again, even though I kind of crossed mentoring, I was putting all that time now into online courses. So I didn't still have time for everything. So I stopped doing trainings. And I started doing, again, more and more, like in terms of like YouTube, online courses, and all of that. And what happened? I was kind of overwhelmed again. Because at this point, I was really going all in on the online courses, like taking a lot of time editing stuff and so on and so forth. And I was like overwhelmed because, again, I'm just one and I can do everything. So what did I do? I steered my boat again to a different direction. And I was like, I can't do consulting. But the thing is that I found out is that I really liked the online side of things. I really liked thinking about new ways of generating income, like online. I loved it. And it was one of the things that being kind of not employed like full-time allowed me to do. It opened so many doors for me to learn things that I never knew I liked in a way. And I found out that I really like stuff like marketing, for example. It's like, who would think I would like marketing? I'm a tech person. So what I did learn so far is you will never get it right on the first try. Never. Like me, I failed so many times. And again, it's part of it's showbiz, like I always say. It's part of the game. You will fail so you can learn. And also, one of the things that I probably realized I did was I iterate everything. Like I failed fast. I tried loads of things in the beginning. I tried, like, again, consulting, training, one-on-one mentoring. I tried the YouTube online courses. I tried everything. And then I realized, okay, this is not really working. It's not really scalable. This is the thing that I like the most. And it aligns more with my goals and my mission now. So that's where I want to go. But I had to iterate fast to get there, like in under 1 year. Otherwise, I would take forever. And also, I learned to take calculated risks because I'm kind of all crazy. I always go all crazy after my dreams and all of that. But for example, when I left Microsoft, I did have a lot of savings. So I didn't go all crazy, like without any income or whatever. I did have a lot of savings and I took a calculated risk. And also, lately, one thing that I learned is after you tried a lot of things, of different things, focus on one thing and do it well. That's kind of what I'm trying to do now, and that I'm finding that works best. But again, I had to fail a lot of times to reach this point. But now I want to focus on one thing that I know I like, that I know I do well, and I want to do it well again. So what's next for me? Right now, I'm really focused on, again, generating like online streams of revenue. I really like the online world, and this is kind of my focus now. So I'm doing a lot of, in terms of online courses and YouTube and digital products and all of that. And if you're asking, will I be successful? Will I stop here? I have no idea. And that's the beauty of things. I really like to have no idea what my day looks like tomorrow or next week. I hate comfort. A lot of people really love to be like comfort in their little shell. I hate it. It's like one of the worst things that it can do to me is like putting me in a place where I feel comfortable. I hate it, really. So as long as I'm always improving, as long as I'm always learning new things, I don't really care of failing. If I fail, I don't really care. And yeah, for me, it's all a learning experience in the end. And again, am I going to be successful doing what I'm doing? I don't know. Only time will tell, really. But so far, I'm loving it. And yeah, I can't wait to see what, for example, next month will bring me, because right now I don't know. And it's what I like to do, really. So this is all I had to say. And thank you for coming, and thank you for everything. Okay. Good question. So I'm going to read it out loud. How did you judge that you were good enough with Power BI to start mentoring, then monetizing your skills? This is like imposter syndrome, probably. I didn't know I was good enough. What I thought was, I read a lot of books like entrepreneurship. I never know how to say this word properly. Business and all of that. And I learned one thing, that is, you will always have that imposter syndrome, in a way. You will always be like, am I good enough to be doing this? I mean, probably not. I think that, like, not every day, but a lot of times I think that. And the thing is, what I like to think and what I learned with my readings is that it will always be people that know less than you. So I might not be the best. I'm not Alberto Ferrari or whatever. I'm not that person. But I know there are a lot more people that are just starting on their journey. And for those people, I am an expert. So I might not. In my head, I don't want to look up. I don't want to teach people that know more than me. They already know all of that. Why would I try to teach them? I want to go to the people that know less than me, in a way. So always look down, in a way. Don't try to like teach people, in a way, or don't try to look up or compare yourself to people that are a lot higher than you, in a way, in terms of knowledge, because you will always feel that imposter syndrome. Think that there are a lot of people that are just starting, and your knowledge for them is really valuable. So just think about it that way, in a way. That's my answer. That's it. No more questions?